Hi guys, VTech here, Blueberry Hill. So this is August 22nd to 25th videos. You'll see us finishing up the forms, the first section of the video, and later on you'll see us doing the rebar work for doing the actual laying down the rebars, the plastic waterproofing, and vapor barrier rather, and then laying out the 16 on center grid, and then Pop, myself, and Angie will be there doing that. It's roughly going to take us about 4 days to do the grid, the rebar, and then hopefully within a week we'll have everything ready to roll for pouring the concrete. I still have to make templates for the actual posts for the building. I have the plans, of course, and just going. You basically make a bunch of templates where the bolts go for the main posts, put them in the right spot, and they erect the building. We do have a contractor who's going to put the building up. They're knee deep in work, so end of September is the kind of a time frame. I don't have a date yet, but we're talking, so I'll let you guys know when that happens. You'll see it anyway on video. Anyway, these last few days have been pretty hot. It's about 100, well, it's supposed to be 102. Today's the 26th. I'm doing the video. It's 102. We spend about 3-4 hours on property, and then we go home and relax because it is grueling out there, and we're trying to pace ourselves properly. Anyway, enjoy the videos. We'll talk at you later. We'll also fill you in with the stuff going on property 1 in a little bit. And that's sort of being settled out, but we still have some work to do there. Anyway, thanks again. See you later. So by the way, so the I mean, it's written here on a little text showing what I'm doing. The drip edge for the building, it's a 1.5 by 1.5 little drip edge offset. So the building dimensions are 45 by 70. The inside dimension of the drip edge is the actual building size, and then the concrete spans an extra 1.5 inches on all outside of all the walls, and that's just for water runoff and stuff like that. Pretty straightforward. So everything is, the building's like 45 and 3 inches and 70 and 3 inches, etc. And then the awning doesn't have a drip edge; it's just going to have a slight little slope to it, and that's about it. Anyway, Pop and I are doing that. Then we get ready for the rebar work in this day, and then in the following day we come back on the 24th and we start laying out the rebar. So we'll look forward to that. Thank you. Bye. So there we are, rebar work. That's basically picking up, I think they're like 8 pounds a stick. Angie's out there as well. She was so Pop and I were on the duty to put the vapor barrier out, laid out the grid, and then I came around. We only have one tie, kind of a puller that spins the little wire ties. I was doing the pain in the ass work, doing the beams, and I'm trying to do 6. You'll see me working on the outside of the beam there. I'm doing 6 rebars across the whole section, actually 3 walls. The top, the lowest section on the left of the shop is right on a big giant rock ledge, so it's really not getting a beam, but I am kind of offsetting the rebar so it acts as one-ish. Anyway, nothing too crazy. It's not hard. It's just hot, sweating our butts off, and we're just putting the rebar in place and just moving on. We'll be done, we think, Monday the 26th, so we'll show you a video from that. And then basically doing the templates for the posts for the bolts to hold the Mueller building down, and then we go with our guys and have the concrete poured, hopefully maybe even end of this week. So that'll be fantastic. As I mentioned just a few minutes ago, I think the Mueller contractor is going to be here, or contractor of the Mueller buildings is going to be here end of September sometime. I'll fill you in when. That should be a very interesting video as well. Anyway, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Talk at you later. Bye. So the orange thing right there, it's a rebar bender snapper. It'll snap rebar from number whatever 2 on to 8, I believe, or 6. Anyway, this is number 4 rebar, and I'm using it to make the hoops for the beams. So you make a hoop, and then you can tie like 4 rebars into it, or as many as you want, as big as the hoop is. For the most part, all our beams they're about a foot deep. So we're just doing 4 per. A lot of these buildings, they don't even care if you have a beam or not, but it just makes sense to put them in there. Obviously, where you see Pop in there, that's about 3 feet deep, right? So that's going to be a bigger beam. Quite a bit of concrete. We also didn't want to overfill. The proper way to probably do this would add tons of fill that spans way past the building and then dig it out. And whatever. It's $1,000 here, $1,000 there, so it doesn't really make any difference whether you use fill or concrete. So we just decided to use concrete. Did the same thing at property one. Anyway, that's about it. So this was funny. So Pop and Angie were adding a couple of rebars that they forgot to put in there. And the only way, I mean, there was no real area to stand. So Pop decided to get down underneath the grid. And then they couldn't figure out how to get out. So that was kind of funny. He crawled underneath the grid and here he goes. He's only 84, you know. So there you go. Fun times. Angie was laughing her butt off. So here's this is the 25th, August 25th. So Angie and Pop, they're kind of on the duty of putting the vapor barrier down and scraping that all out. We had a little bit of rain, as you can see, water there. Not too much, just enough to get everything wet. And they continued doing that, and I worked on doing all the beam stuff, center beam as well as the outside beam. The center one's easy because it's just a small, you know, foot deep beam. The outside one was pretty hot in there because there was no breeze this day at all. Got pretty sweaty, pretty hot. We drank a lot of Gatorade and a lot of water. We're doing that every day anyway. But anyway, the heat's supposed to continue on the 26th. I think when I'm doing the video, it's going to be 102 out there. We're going to head out there and I'm going to finish up the front part of the garage, the beam there, and then start helping them with the grid. And the grid, you know, we're just laying a 16 by 16 number 4 pattern, and I'm just trying to add in the supports for the the beam. Anyway, enjoy the videos. Talk at you later. Ciao. So this is pretty good. There's Angie and Pop. You know, they're laying out the grid. They're basically carrying four rebars at a time wherever they need it. Then they're going to spread them out. They're trying to stay out of my way because I'm doing the center beam, and once that's done, then they start spanning over it, and then we're going to tie wrap all that stuff together. Anyway, you see the Bobcat in the background? Man, that thing's a tool. I wish it would run just a little bit, you know, consistently. It hadn't stalled me for a while, but when it starts stalling, sometimes it stalls for, I don't know, 15 times, and then it just, whatever the hell happens, it clears up and it runs like a scalded cat, as they say. But man, those things are invaluable doing any of this stuff. I can see why they're such expensive machines. But anyway, they lifted that whole, it's 164 rebars I think is in that bundle, and it doesn't even breathe hard doing that. So it lifts that. I have the grapple on there, just grab it and put it where I want. So anyway, fun tool. Enjoyed driving it. Later. I'm making great progress. So Dad and Angie decided to go almost to the last part of the front part of the shop. At least they laid out more of the vapor barrier, so there's one more section probably to do that for. Anyway, it was going pretty good, so they just continued. Since I was in the beam, they didn't want to do start popping the rebar in where I was working. It gets too difficult to move around there. So we're going to be back on the 26th, which is tomorrow, to probably finish laying out all the rebar. It's going that quick. I have just one more beam to do, and then where you see that towel on the rock, there's, I mean, no point in doing a beam there because there's gigantic rocks. It's just a giant rock ledge. I could not bust through it, so it's going to be like a pseudo beam. It's just flat on the rocks, and I'm putting 4 rebars to make it look like a beam-ish. You know, offsetting them the height a little bit so they'll act as a beam. In any case, ish. I'm not an engineer by any means, but you know, this stuff ain't rocket science. It's the load of the building's not very high, so it's not that big a deal. But anyway, it'll be more concrete than we want, but that's the way I tend to build everything. A little overkill, a little thicker, so it'll be very strong. The equipment we have, you know, nothing big, just trucks, a couple of cars, blah blah blah. So it'll stand with pretty much anything. Anyway, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Continue to watch, like our videos if you like, and subscribe. Later. Thank you.